Was there anything that maybe didn't go so well today? Specific lesson,
And so we were doing for reading comprehension.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that we're reading Hatchet, and we're reading it aloud. Everyone's taking turn reading it. No one's having an issue as far as the fluency goes, which is improving actually. So that's good. That's actually a bright spot to see their fluency developing a lot better as far as they're reading with more intonation and using the commas and the periods. And so that's been great, even for the lower students. But when it comes to comprehension, there's a group of lower students that are having a really, really, really difficult time getting even the basic like recall. Mm-hmm. We'll read about 2 paragraphs, and I'll ask, okay, could you tell me what happened? What was Brian doing in this situation? What just happened to Brian? Or what is Brian thinking right now? Mm-hmm. And they'll be completely blank. Not all of them, but like the 4 that I'm thinking of.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that with the reading, the fluency and everything, they're reading really well. Right. But we're having a little problem with the reading comprehension with a selective, with a few students, and you are trying to figure out what is maybe going on with that because they're not able to recall the events from the story or the questions that you're asking. They're more of just they're just looking back through the reading and not actually able to do it from memory.
Right. Even with that, it's a struggle.
Okay, and so what do you think the reasons are for that this is happening?
That's what I'm struggling to figure out. Okay. Why is it this way, right? What's the block there, right? What's the conflict that's keeping them from understanding something as basic as summarizing 3 paragraphs?
And when you are, asking them questions on reading comprehension, how does that structure look as far as the lesson? Are you reading it aloud and then you answer questions you ask questions at the end? Do you pause in between and check, or how is that happening?
And so usually that's how it works. We'll have me in the center. I'll read the first couple paragraphs of the story while everyone's reading along in their books. Everyone has the exact same book and copy. And then it depends. Sometimes I'll ask after I read, depending if I think there's something that's important in that paragraph. And then we'll just have volunteers. And like, okay, we're going to pause here now. So while someone's reading, I was like, that was great. We'll pause here.
So what you're saying is, so you'll read it as a class, and you kind of do like a little check-in, but it's all orally done. Right. It's all through discussion kind of type setting.
Absolutely.
And the ones who aren't, it appears that they're not comprehending it as well. They have a lack of participation in the way they don't voluntarily do it, or is it more of when you answer questions?
Right. They'll voluntarily read, but when it comes to answering the questions, that's where the hands stay. The ultimate goal, right, for the class as a whole, right, is let's not just comprehend, but let's go even further than that. Let's go into inferences, and in fifth grade, that's a huge thing. Let's get some inferences and go deeper into the reading, and especially because we're using figurative language. But I feel like with them, I want their goal just to be simply, let's comprehend what the main points of what just happened, right? So that basically at the end of a chapter, they can give me, let's say, a 1 paragraph, just 1 paragraph, right, summary of a chapter. Because the chapter will be about 8 to 9 pages in this particular book, and so something like that I think would be the goal. Let's get a paragraph summary that's actually shows real comprehension of what just happened in that chapter.
So what you're saying is that the overall goal would be that at the end of the chapter, at the end of a few chapters, they're able to summarize in a paragraph of what those chapters were about. Right. That would be the main goal.
Right.
Right? Okay. So what is something that if I come in and I'm watching you, during their reading comprehension, what is something that I could do, to maybe help you out with these students? Or what would you like me to pay attention to? What could I watch? So maybe that you're not paying attention to as much while you're leading the lesson.
It's a good question.
Because from what I recall, you were saying that when they do read, because they're able to read it and their fluency is fine, when they do read, they seem to comprehend a little bit better.
Right.
How could I, collect data for you to, to help you out with solving this problem? Like, what is there something that I could focus on? Um,
Perhaps it's even just see it if they're following along. I mean, not that I don't trust them,
right.
but maybe it is a focus thing that I don't know of.
Mm-hmm.
That when others are reading, because I'm reading along with them, and I try to like model respecting other people reading while to read like that, and that maybe what they're looking at when they're reading is just looking at it. Are they actually following along with fingers? Maybe are they actually reading while other people are reading it, or is it just the act of reading where you're just looking at the pages to make it seem that way?
Okay. And because it's more of it's a group check-in because you're the one facilitating the lesson,
Right.
and everyone's reading together, and you're the one who leads the discussion questions. Is there something that I could do with those specific kids in a way to maybe check in with them, and it's not a complete group discussion? It's more of maybe fewer check-ins, or after a page, or I mean, is there anything? What do you think that could? Because obviously, right now, as a whole, maybe it's not working so well for them. So, what is something that I could maybe try to do during the lesson?
Do you treat that?
Sure. So right now, when you're leading the discussion, everyone's reading as a group, so everyone's paying attention, and you want me to make sure, that these specific kids, if you could you would let me know which ones they are actually following along, maybe with their finger, not that they just look like they're following along, because then it made it seem like maybe they kind of tune out a little bit or something. Maybe that's why they're not able to comprehend the reading. But by having an extra body in here, which would be me, when you're leading the lesson, what is something that I could do to maybe help them out a little bit to keep them on track? Because of course we want them to work independently,
Right.
but I'm saying that while I'm in here, is there something that maybe I could do and it could help them or it could guide them?
I guess we could separate groups and have them in a group on their own and see what.
I don't want to distract from your lesson though, because I want you to be able to do it
Not in a
how
different,
you normally do
different
it.
lesson, but I mean, we read like this in these groups, but just have the groups change during reading. Instead of, let's say they're over here, and move them all together so that.
So you're saying when they read at their own pace in this specific group, or is it it's a whole group?
No, it's a whole group.
Okay.
Why?
Do they discuss after your reading? Do they discuss in their own groups, and then you discuss as a class, or do you just discuss as a class?
We go as a whole.
Okay, so what do you think if we're trying to, help these kids out who are struggling? What is something that we could change, but then I could kind of monitor it or take notes on it to see if it is helping? What do you think?
That could be a good idea. I think to have them discuss first as a group, then as a whole, because then they'll be a little more comfortable.
Okay.
Although my only worry with that would be that because the way the groups are right now, you have multiple levels in each group, and so that my worry would be that the students that know what's going on and that are fine would sort of not dominate, but then would they just sort of fill in all the questions, and then the other students will just sort of nod their heads and continue on. So that's my only worry about that. But I haven't tried it, so I wouldn't know.
But so as an observer, because I'll be coming in, is that something that you would like me to pay attention to?
Sure.
To be listening in on the small groups?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so after this conversation, if I come in and observe, you want to try working on discussing in a small group first, and then in a big group setting. And then you want me to focus on watching to see if these kids are, paying attention,